So the claim I'm responding to is technology has imposed a negative effect on humans. The opponent's secondary claims were technology negatively affects on the way people learn. Secondly, technology leads to unhealthy lifestyles. And third, humans have become addicted to technology. My response to this claim is technology imposes a positive impact on humans. His first secondary claim lacked evidence, and the outline and the speech lacked evidence, which made it weak and affected its credibility. The reasoning challenges presented in the supporting claims were flawed because relying heavily on instant access to the internet has a positive alternative. People are able to use technology to focus on more than one thing at a time and use multitasking as a more organized manner while using an iPad, for example. One of his sub-claims was that abuse the use of calculators and abandon mental math. Mathematics can be done faster and more precise with the use of calculators. Engineers, for example, are able to do extensive complex problems using graphic calculators. His other secondary sub-claim was people are able to use multitasking and have a hard time focusing. It provides internet provides instant answers to questions such as searching for locations. It can be used for navigation and to find one place to another, and helps with time efficiency and productivity. His secondary claim, technology leads to unhealthy lifestyles. It also lacked evidence. The reasoning challenges presented in supporting claims were flawed in a way because they were vague and alternative ideas and outcomes were not considered. My counterclaim. An alternative to this claim would be that technology can lead to an educational and healthy lifestyle depending on what you do. People spending too much time on the internet can be healthy if they are searching for exercise tips, workout methods, or nutritional facts. Another supporting claim that he provided was that kids spend too much time watching TV. Kids spending too much time watching television can be a positive thing when watching educational channels such as PBS, the History Channel, or the Food Network, or exercise programs where people can follow along and work out. Depending on what program is being watched, the kids can learn to be healthy and educated. Another sub-example he provided was texting while driving can cause accidents. Texting while driving is an issue, but an alternative to this would be Bluetooth. Wireless calling is integrated in many vehicles nowadays, as well as voice texting without leaving the steering wheel. His third claim, secondary claim, was humans have become addicted to technology. I think humans have become positively dependent on technology. His information also lacked evidence. The reasoning challenges presented in the supporting claims were flawed because they were vague and alternative positive points were ignored, such as which would outweigh the negative. My counterclaim. People use technology to network with others, especially in an educational and business environment where communication is crucial. It can help by having people stay in touch with others far away, either business or family. For example, many companies use webcam conference rooms in order to communicate with one another halfway across the world without traveling and time being an issue. Family members are able to Skype and virtually see the loved ones without traveling as well. Research for projects are also done more extensively and efficiently in a smaller amount of time. When anyone has a random question about anything, one can simply use their smartphone to access the internet virtually anywhere and Google whatever they are trying to figure out. In conclusion, there was little support for my opponent's claim.
Okay, well, you're saying that there's an on-balance benefit. You kind of presented a counterclaim, but I'd never heard any evidence that supported those counterclaims, just hypotheticals on those points. And if the advocate's evidence was vague or unclear, I think that you are guilty of kind of a special pleading argument here, because often you're making the same sort of point. And when you talk about people being able to use graphic calculators solving problems, or maybe they're online looking for nutritional information or exercise tips, I mean, those sound pretty vague and unsubstantiated also. So I think you want to be careful about making this challenge about the advocate's evidence being ambiguous when your evidence is going to fit into the same category. I think you labeled the secondary points pretty clearly. You had okay hypotheticals on these points, but again, I think it would be stronger if you had some data, and then you could contrast that argument a lot more effectively to the advocate's point when they don't have any data. As you get to the second point, it's the same sort of thing. Like I said, it's this argument about the evidence being vague. TV watching, here's a good example, I think. You mentioned, well, TV watching could be beneficial if they're watching the right kind of thing. Well, where's the data that says they're watching the right kinds of things? Where's the information that shows that PBS or the History Channel are the most popular channels among this particular age group, or that kids their scores have gone up on history tests because of the access to this sort of information, or they write better papers as a result of access to all the information online? Any data like that would have been helpful, but mostly we kind of end up with this generic challenge on these issues, and I'm not sure that that's all that convincing. The texting issue, there's not much point denying that texting is a distraction. You could argue that we can kind of minimize that distractions with additional technology. I guess that's an okay response, but it minimizes it to some degree. I'm not sure that it's convincing, and again, it's mostly asserted on your part. I don't doubt that what you're saying is true. But I have heard arguments that suggest that the distraction is either the conversation or thinking about it. It's not actually the activity so much as it is the mental activity that's going on there. So I'm not sure that those points would respond to that. On the last point, we're back to the same sort of thing. You're making an argument that says that we could do these alternative benefits, and again, I think the examples you have are okay, networking and webcams and Skyping and all those sorts of things, but we're back to the same situation where you're saying they're ambiguous, and then you're coming back with ambiguous responses to the point. So now I'm left with two sets of ambiguities to answer to, and if I had to choose, I'm not sure I've been given a criteria by which I should be able to choose. All right.